Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. This is finished off in a blue sapphire pearl, and it has an MSRP just shy of $30,000. Now this is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine paired to the CVT transmission. It also has the manual 8-speed shift mode. This pumps out 152 horsepower, 145 pound-feet of torque, sent through that all-wheel drive system, propelling this 3,300 pound vehicle from 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds. Top speed is 123. This also has a fuel capacity of 16.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 27 miles per gallon in the city, 34 out on the highway. This also has wheelbase of 105.1 inches. Its overall length is 176.4. It has a width of 71, a height of 63, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.7 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the all-new Crosstrek, let's start off with the Subaru badge front and center. It has some really cool trim accents that go towards the headlight housings on both sides, with a lot of cutouts in that mesh. I believe that this is the front sensor. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but this does have distance pacing, so there is a sensor located up front. Now this has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with a really nice design to them. And then there's fog lights in the lower section, and a lot of this interesting plastic trim. So it runs around the fog lights in the lower section to the opposite side, of course. Even more inlets in that lower section, and then some really nice lines that come down the hood. So I will say it's pretty basic, but it gives you everything that you need, which is of course nice. Now this has a set of 17-inch wheels with that 5-spoke design to them. More of that trim coming off the front bumper works its way around those fender flares, even in the lower section there. There is a functional piece in the back though, so there are some cutouts there, which is nice to see, just to help improve with some aerodynamics. And then this has some gray trim for those mirrors along with the turn signal. There's a sunroof up top with all of the roof racks, and then even more lines that come down the side. So there's one in the lower section of the door there at the height of the door handles. It gives it a really cool hatchback design. And then in back, this does have the body colored spoiler with the brake light, wiper blade, backup camera, and then more of that plastic in the lower diffuser there. It does have LED taillights too, which actually work their way into that liftgate, which is pretty neat to see. Now, with that out of the way, let's work our way to the cargo space. You can use the button on the key fob or the hidden one up underneath and lift that all the way up, where you have a good amount of interior space. So with the back seats up, a little bit of storage on that driver's side, same with the passenger side. The spare tires located underneath, where you could place some additional items if you need to. And you can even fold down the back seats. You can actually gain access from the back. So simply pull on this pin here and that will release it. From there, you can fold both of them down to give you that much more interior space. If you want to fit a bicycle or some other larger items, you can definitely make that work. Now there's one grab handle up top, and it's very lightweight, so that is easy to close. It's also a relatively low vehicle. I am 5'10". My neck is just above the height of these roof racks, so it's pretty easy to gain access to the roof if you have some additional items that you want to place up top. Now as we work our way to the back doors, or the back seating area, we do have a cool two-tone design with the gray and the black for the door panel, and then the two-tone works its way to these cloth seats, which do have a great design. It's a low vehicle. You actually step over and down to get to the seating or the flooring, where you have an ample amount of space. There's a storage pocket, even some auxiliaries. And at 5'10", I have 2 inches above my head maybe. It's nice that the roofline goes back up where my head is. So I'm actually pretty comfortable. It's a nice place to be for a hatchback. It gives you plenty of room. Now there's the armrest with 2 cup holders in the middle, and you do have a pretty big pillar right there, but there's a small window, and then the back glass, of course. I haven't had any issues with visibility and driving this the last couple days, so it definitely makes up for that pillar there. Really easy to see. Now the front door panel has the addition of the carbon fiber-like trim surrounding the release handle. There's all of the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, a little bit of storage. And then we have the power-operated driver's seat with the same two-tone design. And the steering wheel is not leather, but it does have a nice look to it. Left side, there's volume along with Bluetooth and voice commands, tuning and source for your audio. On the right side, there's cruise and adaptive cruise control settings, along with the steering assist and the different driving modes. Now let's start this up so we can go over the rest of this information. Now for this gauge cluster, on the left side, there's the tach and the engine temperature, right side speedometer and fuel level, and then within the small LCD screen in the middle, in the upper section, currently it's showing MPG, along with a few other icons just underneath that. Now you can use this control right here to go through some of that information. You can pull up, looks like your average MPG, PSI for your tires, look at the audio, your outside temperature and time, and we have some other averages that you can scroll through. And that's pretty much it. So just depending on what you would like to see. Underneath that, there is a diagram for the distance pacing, miles per hour, and then some trip information in the lower section. Now, if I push on S or I, it will change in the upper section where the SI drive mode is now S for sport or I for the individual. And there's a diagram there that will change depending on what you're in, of course. Now, this also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifter. So for a CVT, it's interesting to see that, but you can change gears as needed, and I will show that once we get this out on the road. That is it for the gauge cluster though. And then over on the left side, there's a dimmer switch for the gauges, more of that carbon fiber-like trim with one air vent. And then new for the 24-year model, we have this massive vertical screen. Hazards are on this left side, along with volume. There's the defrosters and temperature for driver, temperature for passenger, and tuning are on the right side. Now in the upper section, you can actually go through some information just by clicking on those arrows. So there's X mode, which you can turn on and off, basically for another drive mode that you can go into for off-roading. We have a weather icon, you can look at some vitals, and then look at the radio. Underneath that, we do have the music on at the moment. And then in the lower section, if I push on the home icon, now we can go through these apps like radio, media, phone, you have car information, and then you can go into a few more of these controls. In the lower section as well, if I push on the car icon, now we can go through some more of this info that you just saw, just to configure this as needed. There's the engine start stop, along with a phone icon on that right side. And then the last one looks like a person. So you have driver profiles that you can get into. Climate adjustments are in the lower section. You can easily turn it on and off. If you click on the middle icon there, now we have the temperatures for driver and passenger, where you'd like the air to go. So you actually pull it up in the screen itself or quickly just push on these buttons. Pretty simple layout, but it gives you everything that you need. I really like the design of the screen too. Now there's some auxiliaries down below, a little bit of storage, and then when we place this in reverse, we do get the backup camera right in the middle with the guidelines. And then you can actually use the manual setting here, which allows you to use those paddles as needed. Now the e-brake is behind that. This even has heated seats, 2 cup holders in the middle, along with a 12 volt. And then there's a little bit of storage in the armrest, along with more carbon fiber trim and the glove box over on the passenger side. Now up top, there's the dome lights, along with the controls for the sunroof. We have the manual adjustment for the sunshade itself. And then looking at visibility from the driver's seat, you can see around that pillar. So it's not all that bulky as far as visibility goes. But let's go ahead and get this Crosstrek out on the road. As we jump behind the wheel now for this 24 Subaru Crosstrek, I have a few things that I'd like to go over with what is new for this Crosstrek. So we have EyeSight driver assist technology. We also have this 11.6-inch screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are now wireless, so you can use those through the system. The chassis is 10% stiffer than the outgoing model. All trim levels though now come with a CVT transmission. I was just in a 2022 manual Crosstrek, so if you'd like to see how the manual was, check that out, but it looks like they are ditching the manual. It is CVT now. We have the automatic emergency steering, along with the dual pinion electric power steering rack from the WRX. So we'll go over how this steers once we get it out on the road. And we have a new exterior design from the front grille, compact headlights, broader shouldered stance, and a quieter and more comfortable cabin feel. Now, like I said, I've been driving this for a few days. We have this for a week. So it's really cool to be able to check this out. We don't have a whole lot of seat time behind the wheel of different Subarus. A lot of WRXs have been on the channel. We've had friends with them, so we've been able to drive those quite a bit. But this would be the second Crosstrek that I've been able to drive. And what I'll say about this is it seems like it's a pretty basic vehicle. It's under $30,000, so you wouldn't expect a whole lot from it. But for that price tag, it doesn't feel like it's at that level. We have a really nice infotainment system, a lot of good tech like the distance pacing, all of what I just told you from that sheet there. So it's pretty cool to see that it's basic, but it gives you the tech and what you want for that price tag. Now, this is something that I've seen a lot of Subaru owners take on hiking trips. You're going mountain biking, going kayaking, something like that. It seems to be a pretty good all-around vehicle for those types of situations. You have a small vehicle, so it's easy to reach the roof. You also have the hatchback style, so it's easy to place in larger items. It's almost like a win-win for those types of situations. Pretty affordable too, to be able to get into this model. And I really haven't had any complaints with it. I've been in it a few days so far. I will say I do wish it had more power. I wish it had maybe a turbo engine option. Someone buying this might not be interested in that power, but if we go down to about 20 miles an hour, this is full throttle. Right now, full throttle. And 35, 40, 45, 50, that's full throttle. So it's nothing impressive, but I mean, it's a good vehicle all around. It's something that you can drive all the time. It's very comfortable and quiet. And so now let's pop it into the manual setting from second gear. Here we go. So I will say that the paddles are actually pretty responsive. It's not a quick car, as I've already gone over, but the fact that you do have responsive paddles is very interesting and impressive for this type of vehicle. Now, one thing I just want to make a quick note on, when you hit the turn signal, it doesn't actually do the 3 at a time. You actually have to engage it, which something for the price tag. It doesn't have the 3 traditional ones, just the single one. Anyway, the paddle shifters are very responsive, so that's interesting to see. As soon as I tap on them, they have that performance, which is neat. But like I said, I do wish that it had some more horsepower. I think it needs a little bit more get up and go. Not really the purpose of the Crosstrek though. If you want more power, you can go with the WRX. You can go with some different other brands, maybe something similar to this. But it's interesting to see the paddles and then the steering, like I mentioned earlier. So behind the wheel now for the Crosstrek, MSRP $29,000, right around $600. I don't think you can really complain with this interior for that cost. It's a very nice vehicle. This could be a great first vehicle for you, or just in general, a really nice vehicle that you just need to hop in, get to your adventure, your destination, and go have some fun. So I really can't pick it apart. It's been nice to drive over the last couple of days. Very basic, but very plentiful with what it has to offer at the same time. And I think that will wrap it up for the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. If you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.